There we go. I just grab a little bit of water. And I want to start by thanking Becky and her family for hosting tonight. Because when we host, everybody participates in the house. The kids have to go to bed on time and they really want to know what's going on tonight. They want to eat the delicious buffet. The husband has your.
Why can't I stay? I'll be very quiet.
Yes. I have to tell you, when I host in my house, my daughter always sneaks in. Like there's no way she stays. Like she's so excited to be part of the shiur, Baruch Hashem. And Becky wanted to make this evening for the refuah shelema of Heleni Orna Batchen Chana. So all the brachot that you're going to make, please have the intention to send all the angels that will be created through those brachot for the refuah shelema of this little angel, and for Rafael Chaimer ben Simach Hashan. Now, I also want to add, with your permission, two dedication. One, for the protection of Olam Israel, for the protection of our soldiers, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu should protect them, that we should never hear again, wake up with one name of a soldier that has given his life for us all. And for the refuah shelema, refuat nefesh and refuat aguf of all those who are wounded, whether they were wounded physically or emotionally. I know that we all have family in Israel, and it's not only the people who have been wounded physically that we have to pray for, but all those kids who have lost a friend, all those parents who have lost a kid, and the kids who have lost parents. So, B'ezrat Hashem, we should also pray for them. And also, last Shabbat, a girl from Miami Beach community, a 15-year-old, Ella Adler, Ella Bat Matityahu, lost her life during an afternoon doing water skiing. She was hit by a boat. Yesterday was the Levaya. So I want to dedicate that class, Leilui Nishmata. And that HaKadosh Baruch Hu should give a lot of strength to her parents, B'ezrat Hashem, and her family, her grandparents, who were there yesterday speaking, and her friends. And also that the friend who hosted the birthday party where she lost her life, that she should not feel guilty. That's also something very important to think about. So, לרפואה שלמה, הלני אורנה בת חן חנה, ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם שהכל נברא. Okay, so I know most of you, but my name is Esther Sidlon. I'm a friend of Becky, and a friend of some of you also. I run an organization for women, Kiruv organization called Leha'alot. Before that, I was working for 15 years in the French community, as you can hear from my accent. Like I come from Paris, France. And I'm very honored to be here with you tonight to speak about the Parasha of the week. So every Tuesday night, we gather in a different house and we learn about the Parasha, and we try to understand how the Parasha can teach us something practical in our life as women in 5784 in 2024. Before that, with your permission, I'd like to read, or someone would like to read the healing for all the people that we mentioned earlier.
Also, I want to do it for my father's outside.
Of course, please. What is the name of your father?
Ben Esther.
Abraham Ben Esther. So Leilui Nishmato also.
Thank you.
You would like to read, Yafa?
Where is it?
No, I didn't print them this week. I'm going to give it to you.
Oh, so I can hear. Yeah. It's English. It's
So we'll read Perek Kaf.
למנצח מזמור לדוד, יענך אדוני ביום צרי, שגתך השם אלוהי יעקב, ישלח עזרך מקודש ומציון יסעדך. יזכור כל מנחותיך והולדתך ידשן הסלע. ייתן לך כלבבך וכל עצתך ימלא, נרננה בישועתך ובשם אלוהינו נדגול. ימלא אדוני כל משאלותיך. עתה ידעתי כי יושיע אדוני משיחו, יענהו משמי קודשו, בגברות ישע ימינו. אלה ברכב ואלה בסוסים, ואנחנו בשם אדוני אלוהינו נזכיר. המה קראו ונפלו, ואנחנו קמנו ונתעודד. אדוני יושיע, המלך יעננו ביום קוראנו.
Thank you so much. Becky, would like to read another one?
Sure.
Choose. Right? Choose which one, whichever you want.
Start the game up.
Okay.
Okay. Adonai malach gebot lavesh Adonai ot tazar. Avtikon tevel baltimo. Nachom kesachar me'az me'olam atah. Nasu naharot Adonai, nasu naharot kolam. Yesu naharot techyam mikolot mayim rabim. Adivri mishivrei yam tahir gavro Adonai. Edotecha ne'emnu me'od levitzchad na'ava kodesh Adonai le'orach yamim.
Thank you so much, Becky. Thank you. Okay, so we're going to start, and I want to share with you a little story about my childhood. So my name is Esther, and I was named after my grandma. My grandma was a great woman, but she was a very small woman, very, very tiny, very petite. She was, I think, probably 4'7", something, very petite. And she loved gardening, but she had a passion for gardening. And every single day, when all the grandkids would come and pass by and say, and spend time with the matriarch of the family, and we had to help her water the flowers. And so we would grab the water hose, which was named not a water hose, an arrosoir. I don't even know how we say that in English, but you know what I mean, right? And we would listen to my grandma speak to the plants.
Oh,
and we were speaking with Becky about that right before, actually, because I was saying, what a beautiful mango tree.
Yeah.
And she said, yeah, but you know what? Some leaves feel like a little sick or weak, at least. And she told her husband, you should go sing, speak to the tree. And actually, I saw my grandma speaking to her plants all my childhood. She left this world at almost 100 years old. And until the end, she would always have one of her grandchild come. And then she would speak to the plants. My dear Rose, I love you. You're the most beautiful rose I could ever dream of. And we were like, okay, like, you know how like at 15 years old, all those things seems like so like, come on, grandma, can we go inside and eat dinner already? Like, please, I'm hungry. And then I have to go out, see my friends, like instead of speaking with the trees, you know, like we had so many other things to do, right? And it's funny because only many years after, when I actually moved to Miami 20 years ago, I got married with my husband, and we received for, I don't know, like maybe our anniversary or something like that, a book from Rabbi Zamir Cohen called The Revolution. And this was a revolution in my life personally, because this book intends to prove, or let's say like to show that the Torah contains all the modern scientific discoveries that are being discovered today, right? So in this book, you open the book of the revolution, and Rabbi Zamir Cohen, who really is such a knowledgeable person. Do you know him from Hidabrut? No? Yeah. And this book shows like so many discoveries that are supposedly like, you know, like from the 20th century. Wow, we discovered the X-ray, we discovered bacteria, we discovered antibiotics and everything. And he shows that in the Torah, we already speak about that, right? And one thing that struck me more specifically was an experience made by, I'm going to tell you the name because it's a Japanese scientist. So imagine that I don't remember the name. His name is Dr. Masaru Emoto. So Dr. Masaru Emoto is a Japanese scientist who decided to prove scientifically that words, speech, has an impact on water, right? And so on water. So what did he do? he actually took different glasses of water, right, from the same source originally. And every day he would recite in front of the water different words. So on one glass of water, he would say bad words. You're stupid, stupid water. You're never going to grow. You're never going to become a beautiful, like a drop of water. You're so ugly. Ugh. Okay. On the second, he would recite psalms, right? Tehillim.
Is he Jewish?
No, he's not Jewish.
Okay.
I don't know many Japanese that are Jewish, though, but maybe there will.
Well, there are some, which
Yeah.
is very weird.
Yeah, but no, he was not Jewish. And the third thing, he would say beautiful words, and on the other one, he would say nothing, right? And then he froze drops of water and he analyzed it with a microscope. And it was so interesting to open that Revolution book. Every week on Shabbat, we would sit, just the two of us, because we're just married, we didn't have any kids yet. And we would look, and I was like amazed to see, like those, it looks like a snowflake, but basically it's not a snowflake, it's a crystal of water that has been analyzed. So the regular crystal of water, we all know it, like it's cute, it looks like a snowflake, right? The crystal of water that had received very nice words was beautiful, had a lot of branches. The one with that had received the Tehillim, the Psalms in Japanese, believe it or not, was also beautiful with a lot of branches. And the one that had been cursed was not even formed, right? It didn't even look like a crystal of water. Many years after that, so I thought obviously of my grandma, right? I said, wow, my grandma who used to speak to her beautiful garden actually was right.
It's true.
Right. As a teenager, I was not mocking her because I had so much respect and love for her, but I was thinking, okay, she's a grandma, she's old, she thinks that it has an impact on on her roses and on her fruits and on her strawberries and tomatoes and this and that. And I didn't believe in it, honestly, at that time. But then I started opening my eyes to the power of speech. And a few years after that, I actually decided to do that experiment with my kids, and I'm going to show you in a little bit. But where does it come from? Where does that power come from? It comes from the creation of the world. When HaKadosh Baruch Hu created the world, and I placed here a text of Bereshit, where you can see it's like the first verses of Bereshit. So the first verses of the Torah say, Pasuk Gimel, and God said, Vayomer Elokim, Yehi Or, Vayehi Or, that there should be light, and there was light, right? And everything that HaKadosh Baruch Hu created was actually created through speech. Either he said or he called, but he verbalized, and it became a reality, right? So basically, that is exactly how the world was created. The world was created through speech, right? And speech created reality. So obviously, speech, words, what we say, what HaKadosh Baruch Hu said, right, created the matter. And therefore, we should not be surprised that when someone speaks, it creates or it has an impact on the matter. Why? Because actually on the sixth day, HaKadosh Baruch Hu made a very special creation, Adam HaRishon, right? And how did he create Adam? In his image. He created Adam HaRishon in his image, meaning that Hashem created him and he mirrored HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and he created Adam HaRishon. So Adam had somehow the same powers than Hashem. Different perspective, obviously. Why? Because so Hashem created Adam by gathering some dirt from the four corners of earth, right? Then he put water. He created like this shape of clay that was not yet alive. And how did he give him life? By blowing into its nostrils a neshima, a nishmat chaim, right? A breath, a ruach, a breath of life, right? This breath of life, by the way, the Nefesh HaChaim says that this breath of life is actually the ability to speak, because it's true that when you speak, what are you doing? You're also breathing, right? You're creating that breath. So Hashem breathed into the nostrils of that clay being, the being of clay, and he breathed in something very deep. Because when you breathe, you express something from the deepest part of you. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave a part of him, and it's the neshama. That neshima, that nishmat chaim, that neshima is actually the neshama. It's a chelek elokam mimal mamash, meaning that part of Hashem, really a part of Hashem. And this gives us that ultimate power of creation through the speech. The same way Hashem speaks and we exist, right? He speaks and we exist, and that's a continuous fact. At every second when we exist, it's because Hashem is right now creating us every single second. He didn't create the world 84 years ago, and that's it, right? He's recreating it at every single second. So every time we breathe, we're receiving that neshima of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that breath of life. And you can try, but it's not recommended to try not to receive that neshima. You're not going to last for long, right? In order to keep us alive, we have to continuously be the recipient of that breath, of that living strength, right? Hashem speaks, and we are created at every single second. And not only that, but because he spoke into us and he gave us that power, we too have the same illimited power to create with our words. As we speak, we create a reality, right? We can build, we can create, we can also destroy. No. And that's something we have to know. Halachically, it's also true. It is halachically recognized that when someone speaks, it is a reality. I'm going to give you an example in Taharat HaMishpacha, for instance, the laws of family purity. Okay, if a woman says to her husband, "I am a nida," it's not a joke. She becomes a nida.
Oh, yeah.
She receives at that same moment the state of impurity that is called a nida, right? And she has to ask a rav, but she might also have to go through the steps of purification just because she said it, right? So just one tip. If we think sometimes, oh, I might be a nida, just say, I might be a nida. Don't text your husband like, I'm a nida already, like, and you didn't check, right? If it's a day of the honor. It's also true, halachically, that when I say something, it creates a reality. That's why right before Rosh Hashanah, right before Yom Kippur, we say the cancellation of all our nedarim, right? What is a neder? Neder is something that I said, and if I didn't keep my promise, it's a problem, right?
We're not allowed to promise.
What?
We're not allowed to promise.
We're not allowed to promise. But when I say, okay, I'll come to your shir tonight, right? If I don't say bli neder, I promised you I was going to come, right? If I say, for instance, count on me, I'll be there to help you move your house whenever you find a house. That friend calls me, I found my house. I'm sorry, I thought you would never find a house. I'm not going to move out like all the boxes, right? Yes, you should, because you promised somehow. When you say something, it creates a reality. And actually, in order to erase, to cancel that reality, you need a bedin, or at least two witnesses that are kosher witnesses, and that will be able to say, we accept that you cancel your promise. I'm going to give you an example. A long time ago, the very beginning of my marriage, I said to my husband, I promise you that if you don't do this, I will that. Okay, I'm not going to tell you everything about my personal life. And then he didn't do what I told him. And then I called my rabbi and I said, Rabbi Oziel, okay, I said a shtuya to my husband. Now, how can I cancel it? Because I realized that I said something. I told him, like, if you don't do this, I promise you I will leave, or something like that, like stupid thing that we say Shana Reshona when we don't have an understanding of what a marriage is. And so he told me, whoa, wow, you said that? Well, you know what? You're going to have to come to me, and in front of two people who are reliable witnesses.
We're doing everything.
Because we don't realize what we're creating.
I'm doing this everything. Not with my husband, but with my kids, everybody.
We are here just to bring awareness to the power that we hold within us. And we don't have any idea. And I was the first one not to have any idea about that. And now I know, but it doesn't mean that I'm perfect with it. It just means that now I'm aware that I have to work on myself by not saying things that I don't want to regret, or by not having to say things that I'm going to have to speak in front of two witnesses. Well, I told my husband that if he didn't do this, I will go, and I really don't want to go. I love him; he's the love of my life. I was just annoyed at that moment, Okay, so that was canceled, right? Don't ask me how many times it happened. No, after that, I thought twice before saying things, right? Yeah, I hope so too. But it's very interesting to understand within us, we hold Hayadina. Congratulations for your son.
Thank you.
It was beautiful. Her son was among a few teenagers who how do you say that? Who graduated from the Solomon program, which is a leadership program. It was beautiful.
That's
beautiful. I was there also. Exactly. Yeah. So it's very interesting to understand within us, within our being, Hakadosh Baruch Hu gave us that power which is not something small. It's huge. It really creates a reality. And we saw it halachically, it is recognized as a reality. So imagine what it does in this world. When we see, and now I want to show you, if you can take the third page here. I didn't bring you the board because for some reason I couldn't, it was lost in my storage. But I still have the board, and I showed it to some of my friends once. This is an experience that we did with my kids when Eitan and Ellie were when my older boys were in 4th and 2nd grade, or 4th and 3rd grade. In Jerusalem, they had this science fair, like in many schools, and we needed to choose a subject for the science fair. And I told them, you know what? In this book, The Revolution, that we received a long time ago, there is this experience from Dr. Maturo Emoto, I don't remember his name. Would you like to repeat it? And so they said, oh yeah, it looks so exciting. So what did we do? We took actually beans, and you know how it's fun, like for kids to grow beans in cotton. So we did that, but we went to Home Depot and we bought 4 little pots, different pots. We wrote down on one pot, just water. On the second pot, we wrote down nice words. On the third pot, curse. On the fourth pot, Tehillim, right? And then for 1 week, we observed scientifically the effect of speech on the water and on the matter, right? I invite you to do that with your kids. It's a lot of fun. I did it also every summer. I think we do it with one of the kids because it's fun to do. And it's really so important for them to realize their power of speech. So after 7 days, we measured. So on the first pot, we just watered. We zipped it, as I told them, zip. We just put water on that pot, right? Then another pot, you put the cotton, you put the beans, and you add the same amount of water as in the first pot, but you also say, bad speech. So you're such an ugly bean. Oh, you stupid bean. And you can also use, those words that the kids love to say to their friends or to show them the damage that it can cause, right? So if they like to say like, oh, you're naughty. I don't know, like it's not a really bad word. You naughty. What type of words? Stupid, idiot. You're such an idiot being. I don't like you. You're so stupid. You're so dumb. You don't like, okay. Everything, yeah, poor bean. Everything that a child likes to say to his siblings or his friends when he's nervous, when he's angry, right? So we said that for 1 week. Then on the second one, we said beautiful words. All the words that moms we like to say to, oh, little bean, such a cutie bean. I love you. You're the most beautiful bean I've ever seen in the world. Mommy will always be there for you, right? And you create like whatever you like. Then the third one, you read a Tehillim. So we chose, I think it was Kuf Chaf Aleph, and we read it every single day to the fourth pot, right? Listen to that. After 1 week, we measured the beans and we also observed them. So I'm going to put because I've been young for many years, so now I need my glasses to read those little numbers. Okay. So after 1 week, the water only had grown until 2.6 inches. Okay. The bad speech, so the second one, had grown less than that, 1.9 inches. Okay. So here you see already the impact, the negative impact of the bad speech. The one with the beautiful words grew 2.7, so 0.1 inch more than the water, regular water. And the one with the Tehillim, 3.5. Amazing, right? And very important also. Here you don't see because I couldn't grow the picture. I couldn't find the pictures, but the first water only it grew only the stem, but there was no leaf. On bad speech, there was no leaf and the stem was not developed. It was really like, it was all tortured on itself like that, curved on itself. The one with beautiful words had grown 2 leaves and the one with Tehillim 4 leaves. Okay, so it's amazing to see. And the kids still remember, I have an 18 years old, 17 and a half, and a 15 years old, and 11 and 5. They still remember whenever they hear bad speech or people saying to someone, you are ta 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 ta. First, they know. You don't say you are and a label, but your actions are. First, it reduces the level of impact on the person, right? But they remember because it's visual, because it's an experience, and because you cannot deny it. It's scientific, and every summer. So it's been like 10 years that every summer you can see me with my beans and we do that. And it's a lot of fun. But it's also very important for us as parents to realize, what is a human being made of? 70% of water, right? Imagine every time we get nervous and we say those things that we regret, right? Or that we accuse them of things that they're not really responsible for. Or that they're even responsible for. And so what? Are we going to impact them with negativity because they're kids? So this is so important to realize. I love that experience because it really brings first a lot of fun, it entertains, and it brings awareness on that power. That's a huge power. And we can just learn to master it, right? And this Parashat Emor is actually a parasha that is going to teach us how to master it in 3 different domains of life. And that's what I want to see with you now, if you allow me.
Sure.
Okay, I'm just going to drink a little bit more.
I'm going to do this experiment.
Yeah, do please. Just please.
When you do action.
What?
I mean, when you.
Yeah, and you
when
also
you
place your intention.
Or you will be like, oh
Of
my God,
course.
that's a bad thing.
Of course, that's very interesting. So we said that, just to wrap up, Hashem created this world with a speech, right? By speaking the world, right? Then he created man on the 6th day of creation, and it's the top of the creation. And he placed within the man that ability, right? Human being is the only being who is able to speak. Even if you have some parrots who can emulate the speech, they cannot speak. It's not a language, right? We are the only one who can speak. And we are the only one who are made in the image of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And that speech, we have to understand that it's a super powerful tool. And really, if the Chafetz Chaim dedicated most of his life speaking about the Shmirat HaLashon, it's because the impact of speech is not only on the matter, it is on the matter, definitely, but it's also on the higher realms, on the higher worlds. It also impacts Hashem himself. In the Nefesh HaChaim, Rabbi Chaim Mivolozhin explains, and in the Tanya, we also read a lot about that whatever we do in this world has an impact. It's like a mirror in the higher worlds, in the spiritual worlds. And when we speak in a certain way, we actually give strength or we weaken Hashem. And I think I placed also I think I give you an example, a quote somewhere, right? Maybe I didn't. Then in that case, I will send it to you after, but I have the quote that shows from the Nefesh HaChaim, we can find also in the Tanya, how the way we speak actually impacts the higher worlds. Okay, so we'll see that after. So in this week's parasha, Emor, why are we going to speak about the power of speech especially? First, because the name of the parasha is Emor, right? That means say, right? Also because in the first verse already, we're going to hear Vayomer Hashem el Moshe Emor el HaKohanim b'nei Aaron and Ve'amarta. So 3 times in the same verse, we're going to hear the word say. And Ve'amarta aliyem v'nefesh lo yatama be'amal. Okay, so here we are going to see that the parasha starts with a redundance, with a repetition. Emor ve'amarta, right? And Rashi explains, and you have the quote from Rashi. Rashi explains that this repetition is actually to make us understand lehazir gedolim al ktanim. It means that this double expression is here to make us understand that there is that Hashem wants the Kohanim to admonish the adult Kohanim to be responsible for the younger Kohanim. So basically, it's the first lesson of the parasha is going to teach us how to speak with our kids, with the kids here. Okay, basically, he's saying to the Kohanim, you have to teach them, to say to them, so to your kids, right, that they should not make themselves impure by being contaminated by a dead body, right? So here, the first lesson of the parasha is to use our power of speech in chinuch. And obviously, it's so important. We spoke about it a little bit to make the kids understand that we have a power of speech, but we should use it also to parent our kids, right? Because it's not only the way we speak with them, but it's the content of what we want to say and how we parent them, how we can use this very important power that we have in order to parent them. So first, let's notice one thing. The parasha uses the word emor and not daber. So first, it means, usually Rashi explains that when the parasha starts with Vayomer Hashem or Vaidaber Hashem, it's not the same purpose. It's not the same strength. When we use daber, it means that it's going to be something authoritarian. And it's like a commandment, right? Here he uses emor, which is more like an invitation to speak and to imply, to influence, like with a speech. It's more inviting. Then it's very interesting because we can ask ourselves why specifying an obligation for the Kohanim to tell their kids not to contaminate themselves with dead bodies, when we know that we already have an obligation to teach the entire Torah to our kids, right? There is an obligation, it's a mitzvah of chinuch. We say it every day when we say the Shema Israel, Veshinantam levanecha, and you will tell your kids, right? We have to teach our kids. This is our mission. We are here also to be parents. And when we have kids, we have to parent our kids and to teach them the Torah. So why specifically should Moshe explain to the Kohanim that they have to tell them this, right? Because there is a mitzvah of chinuch, as we said, but there is much more to this. He's going to explain actually one part of that power of speech and the impact that it can have on our kids. He's going to teach us a different level of saying. We can say with words, but we can say also with other things than words. For instance, you've heard probably about the 5 languages of love, right? Which are the words of affirmation, so that's words. But then there's also physical touch, quality of time, acts of services, and gifts, right? Those are different languages, different ways of saying that we love someone, but it's also a different way of saying, a different way of parenting through touch, by being present, by scratching the back, by spending time, quality time with our kids, taking them out for an ice cream, for a walk, for a drive when they grow up, right? Being able to give them a gift. It doesn't need to be an expensive gift. It can be like a little note. It can be something that they like. Like I have one of my kids who cannot have Shabbat without meatballs and couscous, right? So in order for him to know, every Friday morning, he asks me, "Mommy, what's for dinner tonight?" As if he doesn't know, right? Meatballs and couscous, there's always something else, but I know that for him, he is expecting me to show him that I love. Girl, you know who I'm talking about. So it's, for him, this is a proof of love. And if I don't make meatballs, which honestly, like I always have in my freezer just in case, because it would be like telling him I don't love you, basically. So if I don't make this gift for him, it will mean like that I don't say to him that I love him. So obviously, Hashem is telling Moshe to hint at the Kohanim. Wait, you have the mitzvah of speaking with your kids about the Torah, of teaching them But do you know that there's more than just one way to say? Do you know that you can say what I'm expecting you to say in a different way, in a different manner? And I thought, I actually listened to a class from Rabbi Fachi. We had the zechut to spend Pesach with him. It was very interesting. And this morning I listened to a class with him, and he mentioned the Rav Noam Elimelech, who speaks actually on that Rashi. And he says that instead of rebuking our kids, of giving tochacha on our kids in order to have them, like understand the Torah and understand the mitzvot and learn it the right way, like our ancestors used to do, right? He said that Rashi wants to imply that we should we should say things in front of the child about ourselves. For instance, I heard that there was a woman of the community who just gave birth. Oh, I'm going to make her a meal so that I'm going to help her, because when someone gives birth, like it's a lot of things going on, like it's a hurricane in the house, and she might appreciate that. It's a mitzvah, so I'm going to do that mitzvah, right? And not only you did tell them, when you grow up, you should do like mommy. No, you just spoke to yourself. Wow, I'm going to do this. Or I hope I will make, I imagine like your husband, or if you're a businesswoman, maybe, I wish I will make that deal with that contract, or I hope I'm going to sell that apartment if he's in real estate, because I was thinking about giving the maaser to that organization. I was thinking about giving the maaser to Eretz Israel. I was thinking about buying some equipment for the chayalim, right? He speaks to himself in front of the kids. This is a beautiful way to say the Torah, to teach, to parent. You say out loud, but you don't rebuke. You don't lecture. You just say out for yourself. And because you say for yourself, organically, the kid absorbs and understands. Of course, there is also the way of emulating the parent. I saw my mom doing this, so obviously it's normal for me to do it, right? I'm also learning like that, but it's a different way. And I really like this one. The Shema Israel says, "Veshinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam," and you will speak about them, right? So the laws, the Torah, those words of Torah, speaking words of Torah, speaking about mitzvot, showing how excited you are to have them in your life. That's the best way to communicate the Torah to our kids, right? So that's one lesson that we can learn from the parasha this week about how to say, how to use our power of speech, not to rebuke, not to lecture, but for them to absorb it organically, naturally, right? Second, we see a little bit later in the parasha, we see that there is a verse saying, "They shall be holy to their God, and they shall not desecrate their God's name." So obviously, the parasha now is hinting at our relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, doing a Kiddush Hashem, right? Saying things that will not be a Chilul Hashem. What does it mean? It means that we, with our way of saying, with our speech, have also the power to enrich our relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, right? How do we speak about him? How do we speak to him? And by the way, we introduce the concept of speaking with Hashem, which is very important. Not only reading from a book automatically, but speaking our heart, from our heart, with all our soul, with all our love, with all our heart. One beautiful example of that is Hannah. Hannah, who really spoke out everything she had hold for so many years. She spoke it out, and she inspired the prayer for all of us after that, right? And again, like the way we speak it, the way we speak even influences Hashem, as we said about what the Nefesh HaChaim says in chapter 13. Our words have an impact not only in this world, but also on the higher world. With our words, we can build or destroy even the higher world. It's crazy. We should really, really understand that. It's very important. So we can give strength to Hashem by bringing awareness to what we say in our relationship with Hashem. We can use our power in order to give even Hashem more strength, right? And the third way to direct our power of speech is in a very, very important domain of our life, our marriage. Why? The rest of the parasha is going to speak about the holidays, right? It's very interesting. There's a whole thing about all the dates of the holidays of the Chagim, right? And there is one Chag that doesn't have a precise date, right? It is the Chag of Shavuot. So we're not speaking about Shavuot this week. We'll be speaking about Shavuot another time. But why is it hinting to marriage? Because Shavuot is actually the celebration, the renewal of the vows every year between HaKadosh Baruch Hu and Am Yisrael. Matan Torah is celebrated on Shavuot, and this is the day when HaKadosh Baruch Hu asked us, do you want to be my beloved? Do you want to be Mekudeshet? You want to be my distinguished wife? And we said, Na'aseh v'nishma. Of course, we want to be your wife, right? So it also gives us to think, how can we improve our communication? Wow, this is a very important topic. How can we improve our communication in our marriage? How can we build instead of destroying? How can we bring positive input instead of cooling down and bringing coldness and distance? With our words, we can connect, we can unite, we can bring closer our husband, or we can put a distance. And we know that, unfortunately, right? Or fortunately, when it's in the right way. So I want to speak a little bit about the importance of communication in the marriage. And I want to give you a tool. As a life coach, I work a lot with nonviolence communication. So it's a big word, nonviolence communication, because we're not when we don't use the nonviolence communication tips, it doesn't mean that we are violent. We don't fight with our husbands, right? But we don't realize that the way we sometimes speak from our hearts, because we just react, we're impulsive, we have our wounds, we hold on to so many emotions for so many years that sometimes we just use a word that we don't even think can hurt, but it is like an arrow in the heart, and it creates distance, and it creates and it disconnects. And the purpose of marriage is connection, unity, and union. So when we speak, we use communication, which for those of you who speak a Latin language, co means with, uni means one, communication. You're supposed to use it to become one. But sometimes you communicate, and for some reason, like it creates a distance, right? So I want to invite you to look at this page. And this page is the nonviolent communication tips. I'll give you mine after. I'm also a couples coach, and I work with couples, mainly with women actually, because even if we work with just one part of the couple, we manage to achieve a lot of benefits, and we manage to really switch the energy and the connection within the couple, because we are very good at speaking. Women, we have 9 levels of speech out of 10. 1 is for the men. So we can really use that power to bring shalom in our marriage, to bring really like our marriage into another level. So let's see, what is that nonviolent communication? So usually when we have an issue with our husbands, what do we say? You did not do, right? Or we never really start our sentence by you. I. It's very rare. When I receive a client in my office and they ask me like, okay, so I want to work on Shalom Bayit, I have a lot of issues. Okay, so what's going on? Well, I need my husband to change, right? It's very rare that a person will come and tell me, I need to work on my skills because I need to change. There's something wrong with me and I need to adapt in order to create shlemut within my marriage, completion, oneness, right? When we know actually that we are in this world to work on oneself, not on the other. And because I work on myself, he will automatically change, right? So nonviolent communication is actually going to understand how I can express a need, because I should not suppress my emotion. I should just learn how to express them in a way that my husband will, or my other friend, or because it works with any relationship, even with our kids, right? With our friends, with our kids, with our boss. It works in any relationship, that the person will be able to receive the content of what you want to transmit. Because if you start by blaming the person, usually that person will not be able to listen to the content of the message. He will just listen to one thing: I'm not good enough. She's not happy with me. And that's it. The rest, I don't know what it is, but it's not bearable after many years of marriage where you receive so many critics. The woman thinks she's just expressing a need or just expressing a feeling, but the man hears, oh, she's criticizing me. She's blaming me, right? She's not happy with me. I'm not a good husband. And instead of inviting him to come and help you solve the situation, you're actually creating distance. So let's see how that works. So basically, we're going to start with observation, right? Observation. So first, we're going to describe what we see, what we hear, without evaluating or judging. Anybody wants to take an example? And we start with that? Or no, it's too weird. So I want to tell you about my private problem. No, but it could be an example stem, like not one of your households. No?
Not your secret.
An example of something that you went through.
For instance, so let's take something that we all experience probably.
Judgment, it's a good one also from the Torah.
Yeah,
You're not
it's
supposed to judge. So
Yeah,
a
it's
good-
true. We should judge with careful.
Cleaning up. Let's say.
Cleaning up.
After the-
Exactly. Cleaning up after the dinner, right?
The garbage.
So an observation, example, Albert, I noticed that whenever we are done with dinner, right, you leave the table without taking your dish. Or when you take a coffee, you leave the cup inside of the sink, right? That happens very often, I think. So you try to observe the situation. I observe that after drinking your coffee, you put the coffee in the sink, right? Now you have to speak about your feelings. For instance, so you have to learn how to express your feelings related to that observation. I feel frustrated, right? When I see that cup of coffee in the sink, no?
Me, I said, just take the cup out.
Yeah, it's true. We should just
Absolutely.
clean it up and that's it.
I'm sorry.
But let's think about something that is really bothering. And sometimes it is bothering to have a cup of coffee or several cups of coffee if he's Italian, one after the other, right? So express your feeling. I feel frustrated when I see that cup of coffee in the sink, right? Now express your needs. Identify your needs that are connected to your feeling. I need order and cleanliness in the house, okay? Or I need, and you place your need behind, right? And now we're gonna have to make a special request. So here it says, could you please help me putting the toys back in their place, right? I'm gonna give you something that I think is working very well. A husband really needs to feel that he's the problem solver, right?
Yeah.
He needs to feel that he is the one who is going to save his wife and be able to bring a solution to a problem. So, so what are we going to do? We're going to offer him this position. So imagine a situation. My love. First, you come with my love, right? Not, and come on, sit and please, I'm going to tell you what's happening. My love. I feel very frustrated. So you always start with I, because you're not blaming him. We want him to be able to listen. If you start with you, you're not listening anymore. So I, because when you start with I, oh, she's going to blame herself. Good. Let's see. What is she going to say? Okay. So I feel frustrated. Why do you feel? Because when you feel something, the person in front of you cannot tell you, no, it's not true, because you are feeling something. So you are expressing your feelings. Nobody can tell you it's not true. You're not feeling that, right? Yes, that is exactly how I feel. I feel frustrated. I feel insecure. I feel alone. I feel in pain. I feel, and you name it after, right? But you have to be able to know your feeling, because it has to be just. It has to be fair. It has to be in congruence with really what you feel. It has to make sense. If it doesn't make sense, he's not going to understand, right? And then it's not going to make sense to him either. So I feel frustrated, or I feel not important to your eyes when I see this cup of coffee in the sink. Now you don't even speak about him.
Right.
What do you think? Now you're making space for him to come as the superhero, right? What do you think we could do in order for me to feel better about it? Well, you can just wash it.
Yeah, do it yourself.
Do it yourself. No, usually when you come, like now we took a very small thing, right? But it could be with something different. For instance, I'm going to give you an example of
Education.
about education. Okay, so about education. I feel alone, right? I feel alone when I speak with the kids about a very important thing that we both decided on. And I tell them that they're not allowed to, I don't know, like be out of bed after 8 p.m. And you come home at 9 and you go and wake them up. Or you go and say it's okay for them to be out because I just came in, And then you invite him to take his place, right? Because a man needs to feel that he's in his place.
Yeah.
What do you think we can do about it? Right? You're inviting him to think. You're inviting him to take his role of a problem solver, and also to be the one to help his wife. You know, a woman gets married because she wants to be happy. That's the main reason that our sages teach us, that a woman gets married because she wants to be happy. A man gets married because he wants to make his wife happy. So basically, we have the same objective. But many times we don't even let them make us happy, right? We want to do it ourselves and then we blame them. So let's make space for them, invite them into that role of making us happy, because that's the reason why they got married. Let's invite them. What do you think we can do? Even if you know what you want him to do, but if you're going to force it into him, it's not going to work. If you're going to blame him, it's not going to work. It's going to create distance, disconnection. We want to connect. Always think, I'm about to say something. I'm about to say, what? Again? I told you 1,000 times that I don't like that. Right? This is just creating disconnection. Think, I have the power with my words to build the relationship, to create this link between him and I. What do I want the most? To be with him, to be one. So what do? I step out 1 second. In French, we say you turn your tongue in your mouth before speaking, right? It means that you wait before you speak. And you try this. You try to speak, I feel so sad when you are out every night, whether it's with your friends, whether it's at shiurim, whether it is, I feel alone. What do you think we can do? And he will find something to help you in this feeling.
Yeah.
And sometimes he will sit with you and be with you in your suffering. And that is already creating connection. That is oneness. Invite him in. Don't push him out with your words, with our words, I'm including myself. Let's invite him to be one. Communication, just like one, right? So those are tips that we can use. And the parasha, I'm sorry, it's a little late, but the parasha this week, Emor, also teaches us that we have the power of speech, that it is in the nature of human being to have that mastery over matter and even on spiritual things. We don't see it, but it has an impact on the matter, and it has an impact on the spiritual, on the emotion. And you know that because you know that some people, when they speak to you, you feel good about yourself. And some people, they speak to you and you feel the worst person in the world. That's true. Right? We know that it has an impact on our emotions, on the spiritual realms also. And the Torah, the parasha this week hints at 3 domains of life. The chinuch, how to speak with our kids, how to say in a different way with no words sometimes, or how just to speak about ourselves in order to inspire them and to let them learn organically. Second, with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, through our prayers, through the way we're going to speak about Hashem, and even how we're going to address and speak with him. And third, in our marriage, right? It's an allusion, Shavuot, to the marriage. So here we are with those 3 ways of how to channel that special power that we have. And now I open to any questions if you'd like. I want to thank Becky for hosting the class. If you want to ask any questions, if you have any comments, please, it's your turn.
Thank you.
Today I heard something very interesting. And I didn't name of the rabbi, but for you. And
Sorry.